Welcome to another episode of the Stone Genius Podcast. My name's Ro. I am the Stone Genius. You know me. I am often stoned. I'm always a genius. Unless you ask Bobby. Then she'll say I am dumb quite often, which is true. What do we have to talk about? Bobby's going out of town. So I hope that Bobby listens to this as they're boarding their plane. They may have things to do. So Kansas City just got a brand new airport, the first one in 50 years. Not that people get new airports very often, but so I guess it's a big deal. I used to travel a lot. I did not like Kansas City's airport previously. So I don't know. I may go early on Monday when I go to pick her up and actually go inside to pick her up, just see what the new airport, what the hubbub's all about. It was interesting, though, on the news, they did a thing from the airport talking about highlighting the restaurants and shops that are there. Like, people are going to be like, what do we do on Friday? Oh, let's go to the airport. Oh, you want to go somewhere? No. I was thinking we grab a meal, maybe do some shopping, see what's on sale. My guess, being in airports around the country, my guess is that you will never find anything for sale at an airport store that is cheaper anywhere else. Hold on, did that make? I don't think it's going to be cheaper at the airport store, ever. So, actually, airports helped me quit smoking because when I was out of, long story, doesn't matter. They were so expensive, I didn't buy them at an airport, which led to me ultimately quit smoking, so that was good. Oh, so I had a thought about this clapping. So the reason I let it run through, I'm going to do it again here in a second. So I tried to do this show like 6 times last night. So where have I been? So let's back up. Hold on, I got something for that. So anyway, Catherine and I, Bobby and I, myself, I had some shows in the proverbial can. Proverbial, figurative, whatever. Not physically in a can. But they were in the can. Do you get what I'm going? Okay, never mind. So anyway, I hadn't done a show, so I was able to take like 7-8 days off where I really we had shows scheduled to come out, so I didn't need to do anything. Everything was good. And then I was on a strain that gave me no creativity at all. Generally, I'll write an hour a day or so, or more. I don't even think I picked up a pen. So then I got delayed. My piss poor planning led to like me reaching out to like Catherine and be like, hey, can you do a show? And she'd be like, sure, when? And I'd be like, in 20 minutes, and be like, what the fuck? No. So that was on me. Catherine will be back soon. And so I'm not going to say, I am not calling Catherine a diva. That is not, it's going to sound like I am, but I think I am. So she wants to change her name. And I'll let Catherine announce it on the show. But I mean, really? I mean, that would be like me changing my name to Sue. I would be a boy named Sue, which you have to be a Johnny Cash fan to understand. I'm going to let this go again. Listen to the end of this clapping. Listen. So right there at the end, I had noticed when I tried doing this show last night, I used the applause a couple times, and I kind of let it run. And at the beginning, it sounds like applause. But then at the end, it sounds like guys, not as a strip club, but like at the old time, I almost called it a vaudeville show. It was not. It was adult entertainers. They would perform on stage. So it wasn't a strip club. So this was like the 80s and early 90s where you couldn't just look at stuff on your phone. Like live stuff. Like if you wanted to live stream something right now, you could probably find a place, pay for a place, do that. Back in the day, you had to go to like an actual, you can't see my air quotations, art house to see some performers live on stage. And there were some nationally known performers. I mean, if you were a performer that was able to shoot a ping pong ball at distance out of your genitalia, you were well known on the circuit. So, and they would come to town and we would go, but that's what they would sound like, you know, it would be like applause, like that was, you know, I can appreciate what you just did with that ping pong ball. I can appreciate that you spent time to perfect something that probably most of us have never thought about. And I should ask women because now I feel like when I told Bobby that every guy tries to blow themselves at one time, which once again, if your guy or a guy that you know, if you ask him, have you ever tried to, once again, you got to do it like I told Bobby. You can't ask a guy, have you ever tried to blow themselves? Because they'll say no. So you have to ask them, when was the last time you tried to blow yourself? Because they'll answer that and be like, oh, it's caught. So, and if they answer, I've never tried that, I'm guaranteeing you they have a micro penis. It means that they just knew that their penis was so short that they were not, no matter how flexible they were, no matter how Cirque du Soleil they were not going to get their junk in their mouth. So, and then there are other people that it's not like trying. Like some of us are like, I got to be flexible. I can't have a stomach that gets in my way, you know. So, and then some people are like, I literally just have to look like I'm nodding to sleep. Just put my head down a little. So I'm not sure that would be fun either. I mean, that would be like trying to swallow a coffee mug, I would assume. Nope. Actually, it's probably both of those. I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming. I may have to ask Liv that. I don't think that's a question that ever came up, whether I'm going to have to ask Liv that. So it's interesting knowing someone that's a courtesan. I've never done it. So for me, I find this interesting because I love to ask questions, and I will ask questions, as you may have realized. I'll just ask a question. If I want to know the answer, I'm going to fucking ask the question. So so it's nice to have someone that I can go and ask questions to that is giving me, you know, someone could be like, well, what do you think a courtesan or a prostitute or however you want to term a sex worker, let's just say sex worker. So I just don't know about those conversations, whether if people are like, well, if I was that, well, you're not that. So if we have someone that actually is in that industry, once again, if you want to come up and talk to me about weed, I will talk to you about weed, cannabis all day long. But if you've never tried it, I may talk to you a little bit, but if you try to give me your point of view on it, you can go fuck a duck. And I don't... Actually, I do know why I thought of that, because for some reason recently I looked up a map to see where it was still legal to have sex with farm animals, and I do believe a duck would be a farm animal. So this is for all the ducks and I don't know about ducks. So any of the farm animals that live basically from Texas east and in the South, if you're in a southern state, and Texas, which I'd consider a southern state, if you're in those states, congratulations, you can still have sex with farm animals. I mean, that is impressive that you guys want to fight a lot of other things, but that's still on the book. So when I say go fuck a duck, literally in some states, there could be people that go, that's not a bad idea. You know what? I didn't have plans for Friday night. Now I think I'm going to go find some waterfowl. Nope. Because I'm doing, that's more for, because I love animals. So I don't want any animals to be sexually cheese. Sometimes. So I will tell you, if you haven't realized, this news train is making me a little bit, well, I'm on the air. Not on the air. Oh my God. I sounded like Catherine. Hold on. Because this will really, if Catherine listens to this episode, this will piss her off because it's her voice. I don't even know what I was going to say. He forgot. Uh-oh. Someone's walking around. I really need to get a studio. I mean, the amount of times that people walk through my line of sight while I'm doing my show, while I'm talking about them, seems to be about 100%. I don't know that for a fact, but it seems like it's at or near 100%. I was talking about going to the clubs downtown, and then I got distracted about something. Who knows what? It's probably because I'm a genius. Stoner? No, there's no. The stoner should be the clapping. Or genius. One of them should probably be clapping, and the other should be the. So we could just combine the two. No. Okay, back to this clapping. We're gonna do this again. Listen. Like, doesn't it seem like as that goes on, and don't worry, you don't need to rewind. Oh, that's what I was gonna say about Catherine. Catherine's always like, hold on.
If you just turned into the show.
Yeah, that's not how it works anymore. Anyway, you don't need to rewind. I will do the clapping again here shortly. But as the clapping goes on, it sounds like it gets more aggressive. Maybe in its, like, at the beginning, it seems like it's clapping, like it is hands coming together. And I've talked about that before. If you want to throw people into a group, if you don't want to be like me and judge people based on their IQ, I highly recommend you base judging people on the way they clap. And you may think, or what are you talking about? People clap normally. No, they don't. There's a lot of effing weird clapping out there. Like the hands are doing stuff. Like the hands and the sounds that coming out of the hands don't sound like they go together. And sometimes they're not making much sound at all. And I wonder, if they understand how hand positioning may affect the vocal veracity. No, the whatever. The sound or what's coming out. Because I watch people clap, and it's not pretty. I mean, that back in the day when I was single and I was judging, and I was highly critical. I mean, literally, if I didn't like where your part was in your hair, then we could have had an issue. So I would, yeah, that would not have gone over well. Anyway, so getting back to this clapping, it sounds like it gets aggressive. So I'm going to do it right now. So listen, I will be silent while this goes on. I mean, at first it's like woos, like they're very appreciative of what they've seen, but then it gets more aggressive. Like security may have to be involved at some point. Maybe not at that point, but at least security is probably on a heightened sense of alert because of the tone coming from the crowd while they're clapping. And that's what that reminds me of. So I need to remember if I use the clapping, I need to use it short, because if I let it go too long, then it sounds creepy. I mean, once again, just think about if someone started clapping for you and you're like, oh, thank you. And then it went on a little longer than maybe you thought it should. And then the vocals that come with it may not have been appropriate for the time or the setting. I'm just saying. Now, I'm going to transition to something else that Bobby and I have heard recently. We've been watching American Auto on streaming on Peacock. And for some reason, and I believe that's the only thing we watch on Peacock. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I think it is. But when we watch that show, it has, and I think it is for hearing impaired. So it's, or no, I'm sorry, not hearing impaired, sight impaired. I'm sorry, sight impaired. Because it will have the dialogue, and I guess they just assume that you know who's everyone's, how they sound, at least initially. But then they'll say, so usually it'll be like, so-and-so left the room, so-and-so entered the room. But then like last night on the episode that we watch, someone said something and the voiceover says, they all cringe. And then there was something else that said, you know, like made something about they all make frowny faces. And it was just funny because we just thought that was odd and we turned that off. But it's funny to hear that. And I started thinking about, you know, it's not just sight impaired. How about if you don't really want to pay? A lot of people don't pay attention to their TV show anyway. So why don't I just have it describe everything to me? If I'm already looking at my phone and not I'm just listening to the show and not watching it, then maybe I do want to know that they all cringe. I mean, I hope that I would be able to tell from the tone that the response from the average human being would be cringe. However, I don't know about that. The other thing, and it was funny because Bobby and I pointed this out. We watched 2 episodes of that show last night, and I believe his name's Wesley, and whoever the grandson of the owner, the guy that started the car company, whatever his name is, he said in there, because this is a big pet peeve, and Bobby mentioned it as soon as he said it. She said it before I could even get it out of my mouth, but he said the inaugural such and such meeting. And it's funny because they always make fun of him for being so dumb, but I will tell you 99% of people will put first annual, which is incorrect. It's inaugural. And then it's your second annual, third, fourth, fifth, but it's inaugural, not first annual. And if you think it's first annual, you're a huge anus-hole. See what I did there? I made anus, which is your butthole, and hole, anus hole. So, yeah. So I thought that was funny that they used that. So someone, because that's not normal speak, and that's not how that character is typically displayed, you know that the writer must have a high IQ or was an English major, which if they're a writer, maybe they should have been. But anyway, it's funny because it doesn't fit the character. The character is portrayed as being dumb. So I guarantee you, I know a lot of really smart people that are still going to say first annual because they're first annuals. And so anyway, I do wonder how so it says when people exit, when they do that, how would that be in porn? So is that something that I could add? Now, I don't watch porn, but I would definitely listen to not watch porn in this fashion. Like if it was not like, it wouldn't do anything for me now to just listen to porn. And I don't watch it, but if I could watch it and then it's being described like a play-by-play announcer, like, Super Mark stuck it in the wrong hole. Paula cringes. I mean, that would be because I may not be able to tell the difference between and see, that's very slight. Like, I don't know what hole is what hole at that point. Like, if that was to be what differentiated the holes, I wouldn't know. So if watching porn, or not watching porn, I guess it would be, if I'm not watching porn, but they're describing it like that, and honestly, that would be perfect. If NBC, Peacock, Universal, I think that's who they are. So let's just say Peacock. If Peacock was the ones that actually developed this technology and then gave it to the porn industry, it's Peacock. Cock is in their name, as is peen, which I believe is probably in some of the movies as well. Hold on. Maybe that deserves a, or maybe it's because I've never seen that. Although I will say, depending on the context, I don't have a problem with peeing on people. A couple reasons. Let me. So if you have ever surfed, you have peed on yourself. I guarantee it. And most likely you've ever been in a big body of water, you've peed on yourself. And you may think that you're not peeing on yourself because you're in water and it immediately is away from your body. You're peeing on yourself. I mean, it's a little different when you're surfing and you have a wetsuit on. You're still peeing on yourself. It doesn't, so, and so the whole peeing on yourself to keep warm or just to, I have to, and you know, my circumstances dictate this. Okay, that's one thing. I could understand also, like if I was freezing cold and there was nothing. So say like, I know that it would be counterproductive for me in the long run. Like after this happened, and I'll tell you what this is in just a second. After this happens, I would actually be colder. But so say that I'm with a whole bunch of people, we wreck, and for some reason we're all naked. And there's nothing that we can put on to make us warmer. And then people said, well, I have to pee. I will let them pee on me if that's the only way for me to stay warm. So for some reason, I don't know why, we are in some sort of wreck or something. We get stranded and all of us are naked. Doesn't matter, men, women, I don't care at this point. Now, I am heterosexual, but if I'm freezing and a guy needs to pee on me to keep me warm, and that's where we are in my life, I will let anyone pee on me at that point. Now, don't think that you can just meet me and say, hey, I'd really like to pee on you if that's your thing, because I'm sure that is some things to some people. I will not say no. Now, if later we find ourselves stranded and freezing with what seems to be next to zero hope, then I may change my mind and let you pee on me. Normal situations, no. In advanced situations involving my potential hypothermia, you may ask. I mean, I think you're going to be able to tell how cold I am. And I really want to say, if you have come to the same conclusion, and I'm afraid to say this because some people are really bad at judging situations, but I'm going to say if you've come to the same conclusion that it's not good, don't waste your pee is what I'm saying. Don't go over and go behind a tree or behind the wreckage of the airplane that we're in or whatever happened. Don't go just waste your pee and like pee into a snowbank or something. I'm telling you, I'm probably going to say it's okay. There is a really good chance that I'm going to say, go ahead and pee on me because I need to be warm. That should be the name of this show. Pee on Me, the Bobby episode. I think at some point that I was going to talk about how much I was going to miss Bobby, and now it's devolved into basically saying I will let almost anyone pee on me in the correct situation. I mean, I just don't, if those are my choices. Now, I would rather have some sort of plastic bag that people could pee into, and then I could use that bag like a heating bag or something like that. I would rather that, but I'm saying we're crashed, we're wrecked, we're deserted, we're stranded, and for some reason we're all naked and we're all cold. Don't waste your pee. That's what I'm saying. Come over. We probably don't even have to discuss it. We'll both kind of be on the same page because we're in the same situation. We'll probably just do the eye nod and something. And you may wait. I may turn, like part of me may be colder than the other. Like my back may be cold. My lower legs may be cold. The top of my head may be cold. I don't know. So I may like direct you in a certain way if you're going to pee on me. Once again, I don't think we're going to have to discuss it. I think it would be a head nod and then I will present to you the location, the geographic location on or around my body that I think that it would be best for you to direct your stream of urine. I did not think I would be talking about this quite as long as we have been. But it would be fun to have that in a porn where, Brianna steps over Todd and urinates all over him. Or now urinating. Can you think about that? Eyes roll back. Now orgasmic. Or now faking orgasm. That would even be better. Because I think they said something about faking smile or faking laughter or something. So I think that would be funny too. Faking orgasm. I want to see. So I am not a porn watcher, and I don't want this to sound like it's my excuse. I would rather someone else look this up, but I do think that would be funny because that would be the best use of that. Is it good use on American Auto? Probably. Would it be better use in a porno? Definitely. Let's continue on the nakedness theme. Bobby's still included in this in the nakedness. Also, I want to thank her. I will tell you that I'm pretty much finding my sexual endurance limits with Bobby, which is it's really more of the clapping, and it's more of the aggressive clapping, definitely. But like now it's like my rebound time, I think at 55 years old, and Bobby's not 55. I am. But I think it anything less than like a 6-hour turnaround, I'm not sure that I can participate in. No matter how much I want to do Bobby again, I found that I'm going to need about 6 hours. More of that has to do with like a cardio thing than anything else. Because I will say that if I do less than 6 hours now, the chances of me having a heart attack would be high. I can't even think of it. 69%. Why didn't I think of that number to begin with? But yeah, it'd be 69% chance of me having a coronary. And while that would be a great way to go, I would say that I would rather, if I could wait till like 6 hours and 1 minute and we do it again like we did today, then yeah, that's totally fine. And I do appreciate Bobby is flying out of town today and was going to work a half day and then take off. Took the whole day off. Hold on, I got something for that. And once again, appropriate clapping. But let's listen. Actually, that could have been our neighbors this morning. Either they were clapping because it was so impressive, or they were clapping because we were finished and they were like, oh my God, seriously? There's a new reel that I've been sending around that I had seen where it shows like one of those airplanes where you have like basically like a 2-person suite. You can shut the door. And so it shows a guy shutting the door, panning over to his spouse, girl, whatever. And she was drinking, and then you see a guy that looks like he's sleeping, and you hear clapping, and he sits up and just starts clapping, and he like looks around, no one else is clapping. So I have a feeling that especially in the summertime when the windows are open, it sounds like there's a lot of applause. And I guess I could just hold on. So that's what I feel. I feel like the clapping is coming from our place, and then the vocal response to our clapping is what you hear in that. So that's kind of like a mixture of what goes on with us. But yeah, that's, whew, man. And I will tell you, I wonder if, that's another question I need to ask Liv now, is that what happens if there is or has there ever been a medical emergency with one of her clients? I mean, that's a legitimate question because ended up having to have thumb surgery from a sex accident with Bobby. So I am, oh yeah, and I had a neck injury. Um, that was more on, I mean, it was still during a blowy, so it still counts as a sex injury, but and I guess I should clarify, since I did mention earlier in the show about guys trying to suck their own dick, this was not an injury from that. Now, I will not confirm or deny that I have had a neck injury from trying to do that at some point in my life, but this was not because of that. So this blowy was not me trying to give it to myself. Bobby was providing services at this point. You know why? Because she doesn't want me to go see a courtesan. That's why. Yeah. And once again, I do think this is oh my heck. I do think that's more appropriate clapping for this show too. If it was just clapping like a normal audience, like a dinner theater audience, then yes. You know, and now that I think about it, because my parents used to go to dinner theater all the time. It seems like those dinner theaters may be reusing the stages from the strip shows of the 70s and 80s. I'm not 100% sure, but now that I think about it, and not just the stages, they may be using the props as well. Now I'm going to have to see. Let's see. Did I talk about my mushroom trip? I'll talk about that at some point. I talked about the diva, Catherine, wanting to change her name. Yeah, so we're going to have to talk through that. Let's see. What else do I have written down? This is going to be a short show. Reels of partners flashing one another and their partner being surprised. I used to think that was fake, but now I think the younger you are, the less sex you're having. Maybe if you share my DNA, that's not exactly true. However, I would say that for most people, because if you're really shocked, especially if you've been with someone for any amount of time, then if they're flashing you, and the latest one I saw was like, it was supposed to look like a security camera in the corner of their room, but it isn't. So here's the thing. This is what I don't like about fake reels. And as a photographer, you can usually tell if something has been staged or set up. And you should be able to anyway. But it looks like it's recording, and it's supposed to look like it's in the corner of a ceiling, shooting the room. But it literally had framed exactly the table in the corner of the desk and just the doorway. And that's all it did. And I can't honestly think of any reason you would, if you were for security, I can't, there's not a single reason I could think of framing a camera like that. And hold on, there is one reason. If you were going to shoot a reel and try to make it look like a security camera, sure. So anyway, it was supposed to be like he went to flash his spouse or girlfriend, whatever, who was on a Zoom meeting call. She didn't seem shocked, but she spun it around. It saw him, and he ran off. He was embarrassed and ran off. And here's the thing. Bobby knows I'm going to be naked. Bobby would know if she needed to be on a Zoom call. It doesn't matter if it was work-related, family-related, whatever. She will probably wedge herself into a corner and frame her face as tight as possible so that there is zero chance of a wiener sighting in the background. Because I do like to walk around naked a lot. I mean, and that's one thing that having a child return home, which is great to have them around. But I'm at that point now where I remember, but when they first moved back to the house, after being out of the house for a couple years, it was very difficult to remember pants. And you may say, that's weird. And I wasn't a freak. I'm not sitting naked on the couch. I'd put a towel down or blankets or stuff like that. I mean, if we have a dedicated sex blanket that we can throw on top of anything and go to town, I have dedicated items too that I sit on. So let's just dial it back a notch before you judge me. Oh, hold on. I don't care if you judge me. So judge me. And you're the one sitting on my couch too. If you ever come over, you've sat on that couch. Now I guarantee you that it was covered when I was doing whatever on that couch, or we were doing whatever. I don't want to leave Bobby out of anything because I mentioned the sex blanket. But yeah, yeah. I just, if they, I mean, dude, if I walked in and Bobby like spun her laptop around so that I could be seen, I would immediately do the helicopter. And I am telling you this, now, while I was not a big Kobe Bryant fan, Bobby was, and after his passing, she did not want me to do the helicopter. So I've stopped. And if you don't know what the helicopter is, you need to ask a man because he knows I'm pretty sure you can ask a boy that understands some physics, like if they start moving their body in a certain way, something else may happen. So the helicopter, I haven't done that since Kobe's passing. Hey, rest in peace, buddy. I haven't done that since his past, but I sure as shit, if she spun the camera around, I would do the helicopter. I would do it so I may even leave the ground. That's how quickly I would do it. That's why Bobby is going to, very rarely is a video call with someone in my family when I am in close proximity. Very rarely does that work out well for them. Obviously, I don't give a shit, but that rarely works out well for them. Let's see. I got to start doing some strain reviews. So I got 2 new strains I got coming up. Oreos with a Z, which will be very good. It's indica, and then I got a sativa. I can't for the life of me remember the name right now because I'm a stoner. But yeah, I'm going to have to review those. Oh, good news. We may have our first official sponsor. So, I don't know. We'll see how it works out. So, someone is sending me something. I will review that something, but it may be something that we work on going forward, which would be amazing. I'm also thinking about, so here's my thing. I don't want to make decisions for others. You know what? That's why I'm a pro-choice kind of guy, because I don't think I should be making decisions for others. That being said, I've always said that I didn't want to do like a Patreon, anything like that, because I don't want, even if it was, like if I could get 100,000 people to donate $1 a year, I would be doing this full time. And it'd probably be better. I would just be doing this full time. But I've always I don't want to ask others for their hard-earned money so that I can, because some people, not Bobby, some people think this isn't really a job, but getting ready for interviews, just communication back and forth, getting ready for interviews can be very time consuming, especially when you are working full time to do other, pay bills, have medical coverage, all that fun stuff. But I've never wanted to do it because I was like, I don't want, but if someone wants to do that, if they want to support the show, then all I can say is, and once again, very appropriate. Yeah. Give me them $1. Yeah. Oh, that is a thing that I'll say. So in the show, when I was talking about, it says like they all cringe. It says, I think it's Wesley's his name in it, but he says, makes it rain. Hand gestures making it rain with money, which once again, I think you would have had to have seen that to understand. And maybe I'm not correct on that verbiage. Once again, I'm a stoner. But I think it was pretty close to that. Anyway, let's see. I think that's it. I have a lot of notes. So, Catherine will be back on the show I don't know, sometime. Bobby and I's show, come over and visit us. So my laziness, and it was less about laziness and probably more about poor planning, which probably is due to laziness. But my poor planning is what kind of necessitated me putting out a dual episode last week, because I wanted to get an episode out. That's why I wanted to get this episode out. I know that you all, I can see the spikes when you all listen, so I appreciate it. I know that it's weird just listening to me ramble on, because you've been used to me talking to people. And I really appreciated Bobby being on the show last week. I know that it was both of our shows. It was really more the longest one night stand with Bobby and Roe than it was the Stone Genius. But anyway, love having Bobby be part of that show. And that show, it got better the more we started talking about something that we weren't really into. I don't know what we were talking about. And then we changed subjects, and it was a very good episode. So if you haven't jumped over there, The Longest One Night Stand with Bobby and Roe. That's the name of that podcast. And then I don't know what the name of this podcast will continue to be in the Stone Genius, but I don't know what Diva McGee is changing her. I do know what she's changing her name to, actually. But I'm not going to announce it. No, I will not. I refuse to do it. The Diva can take the stage. I actually may even let her announce
it in this voice. I may let her. And my new name is Blibbity Blurps. Yeah.
I may let her do that. Yeah. So I got to figure out why I've lost that capability. I mean, I do think if I could get that capability back, that I may wait to use it or let them know that it is back. I may wait. Like go, oh, well, because so I am going to have an information show. I think I talked about it a little bit on the last episode, and maybe I didn't. I don't think I did. See, I erased so many shows that I did yesterday. I will have an information show because we watched something again today that information. They used it too soon. It didn't benefit them. In fact, it actually they were killed because of that, because they said, "Oh yeah," and it's like you don't want to get all cocky and say that when the person can still physically harm you because you're like in close proximity to them. That sort of trash talking or level of arrogance may be better suited for when you're a little bit down the road and there's a little bit of separation between you and whoever you're directing it towards. So I will talk more about information because it is important, and it's interesting how you gain it. I think Bobby and I talked about it. So I did talk about it on this show. But yeah, in a temporary agency, it was amazing how often we could find out information. You know, they'd be like, hey, they're meeting with another company. They're taking them to lunch at 11:30 on Tuesday. So I'd show up at 11:20, and I'd be like, oh, let's go to lunch. I will take you anywhere. Oh, what do you got? And then you just stay around to the other, because, and then you put people in an awkward position. Yeah. So anyway, there will be another show out tomorrow, maybe. I may have some stuff to talk about later today. I don't know. So there may be another one following up, but if not, then I do have guests on the horizon. I do have a co-host coming back, and we always have the other episode or the other show, which is The Longest One Night Stand with Bobby and Roe. I want to wish happy birthday to my mother, who, as of the date of this recording, is turning 84 years old. And I am not going to let that get to the creepy one. So, doing very, very well for 84. Bobby will be out of town, but me and the kids will be taking her out to dinner, so that will be a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you all for listening to the podcast. It's been a long time since I've done a solo show. Actually, I say that it may have been 2 weeks. Anyway, it was fun to do it. I will tell you, it is much more difficult to do a show now independently than it is with a guest or a co-host, because as long as I have something to talk with, I can talk forever. This doing it by yourself, much like masturbation, this doing it by yourself is no good. Anyway, thank you all for listening. Remember, my name is Ro. I'm the Stone Genius. I am often stoned. I'm always a genius. I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for listening.